Okay, so greetings, Eri. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Joachim. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So today, Eri, we're talking about the quality assurance systems for the social service workforce in Eastern and Southern Africa.
Indeed. And before that, so I'd like to send our big congratulations once again. So for your appointment as a new president of International Federation of Social Workers, we are very thrilled about the news.
Thank you so very much, Eri.
So I've also heard that there is very exciting news in Zambia. So please tell me about that.
Yeah, there is actually very exciting news, and it's been a very long road that the association in Zambia has had to go through. So we have now what we are calling the Social Workers Association of Zambia Act of Parliament, which was assented to by our Republican president on the 22nd of April this year. So it is really a good move, and yeah, we are game now as Zambia to start implementing the quality assurance system for social workers and the social service workforce in Zambia.
Okay, great. Yeah, as you know, UNICEF. So one of our approach, so for the social service workforce strengthening is so quality assurance system. Then so let's see like how it looks like and as UNICEF, so quality assurance system, as this slide shows, we have 4 different components of the system we are looking at. So the one is on the normative framework, so that defines the roles and responsibility of the workforce. And the second one is on the supportive supervision mechanism that is also key, so to support the workforce. And then the third one, this is on the system for licensing accreditation. That is a regulatory body which often we call councils. So the last one is human resource information management system to understand so the size and types of the workforce that exist. So in that sense, we've been so working on the this third aspect so of the regulatory body, and in this region, as this slide shows, it's been only South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe that have regulatory bodies, and also Rwanda has one. So for the social workers working in the health facilities, but that was that. But now in Zambia, so was the new addition, and it's very exciting. And then also in the region, at the moment. So we have also a few other countries working on it. So Botswana, Lesotho, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and a few other countries. And all these countries, I'm sure IFSW has been supporting, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So the Africa region has been, supporting our members in the process. Each member is at a different stage, but I think going forward, of course, with the partnership with UNICEF, we're really looking into coming up with, the guidance notes, or rather, some document which will be a point of reference for our members that are in this process.
Yeah, so indeed. Okay, so then as we know, so yes, UNICEF Eastern and Southern Africa Regional Office, so we are working on the something called regional framework for the quality assurance system. So in that process, we work with the Global Social Service Workforce Alliance, and IFSW Africa also provided the technical inputs. So then we unpack these 4 different criteria of quality assurance system. Then in particular, we also zoomed in for this regulatory body. Then in that process, we have we identified so few different components that's very key for the strengthening the system. Then on the regulatory body, so that's really all about the design of the system. So that informs the types of normative framework and policy you put, and definition of the workforce is very important starting point, and what sort of operational modality so we want to put for the system and all of this. And one particular aspect that came up very strongly was the consideration about optimal distance among different actors. So, for example, with the regulatory body councils and professional association and the government and the accreditation body and training institution and all of these. So yeah, so that's very important because especially with the professional associations, that could be if there are two the entity exist, so without having clear roles and responsibility, so that can clash in terms of roles and responsibility, and both organization is the fee-based, could be fee-based agencies. And all of this, so this is one thing. So I'd like to hear from you, so your experience in the region, so what could be the challenge and also what sort of solution we have started seeing. So over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eri. What we're looking at in the regions currently, even from our own assessment, we see that there are basically two approaches or models that have been used or which our members are trying to use. So the one model, on the other hand, for lack of a better term, I would say it's a model that looks at the parallel arrangement. And on the other hand, the other model would call it a hybrid kind of model. So the parallel arrangement is arrangement, for instance, that the Zimbabwe case has followed, where we have the National Association on the other hand, and the Council of Social Work on the other hand. So the National Association basically gave birth to the Council through an act of parliament. But as it were, you would find that the council may have resources because members are mandated to, or compelled to pay subscription or to pay for license, whilst for the association is voluntary. So members choose either to associate or not to associate. So that normally would create a challenge. So the learning from there is that as laws or legislation is being crafted, all these things needs to be taken into consideration so that it helps to deal with such potential conflicts or problems. So what I've seen in the Zimbabwe case is that the association appoints or elects members who sits on the council. So for me, that helps to deal with that gap. Then in terms of the hybrid model, it's a situation where you find that the regulator is within the association, but then the law should be crafted in a way that clear roles and responsibilities, properly articulated, and also that council, which is the regulator within the association, is got some autonomous status, so that there is no interference from the association, so that the association does not regulate itself, because the association are the members. So those are some of the key and critical issues that needs to be considered and looked at. But also to note that the association or the regulator is not the institution that provides training in terms of social work training. So there is really supposed to be a clear link with the authority that regulates training institutions, the authority that approves curricula, and also a clear collaboration with training institutions. I think that is critical and supposed to be highlighted in the law, and also how then the association and the regulator relate with these different bodies. Eri?
Yeah, thank you. So I think it is a very good example we see in Zambia and in Zimbabwe, but we also have a lot of learning from outside the region, and there are countries like and Greece and Argentina and Korea, so came up with very creative model, which we also learned so in the region. So that's all captured in the regular regional framework we are working on. And also this is very important consideration in terms of not just conceiving the regulatory body, but how we are going to make sure the sustainability, so through sustainable financing of the regulatory body. So I think this is also where we need to see an optimal distance between the regulatory body and also the government. So do you have any point around this? Over?
Yeah, exactly. So even the relationship between the regulatory body and government should be clearly defined. And more often than not, if it's not clearly defined, you'd find that kind of conflict and some form of what one would deem as controlling from government, controlling the regulator or the professional association. So I think those we need to be aware about such potential challenges and deal with them at the point of drafting legislation. So I think that is very critical. Eri?
Yeah, thank you. So I think it is very important to do the proper designing of the system, so then make sure this coexistence and all the consideration is fully considered in the drafting of the bill stage. Otherwise, so this bill takes years, right? So to get enacted. So yeah. So any other important points from your point of view?
Yeah, so from the point of view of IFSW, I think we're taking interest in these processes, knowing that in a number of countries, around the world, social work is not really put on top as an essential workforce. In Africa, for example, we saw even during the COVID pandemic, even now, that social workers are not really regarded as the frontline, workforce members, and but then of course they play a critical role in response to pandemics, in engaging community members, in engaging the people that we serve as users of social work services, children, women, and vulnerable groups. So I think legislation will be key in highlighting the role that social workers would play and going forward. And also maybe just to mention that we're really looking forward to providing support to our members through coming up with maybe guidance notes or some document which would be a reference point for all members that want to embark on these processes.
Yeah, indeed. So during COVID-19, so we really observed the countries have better regulatory body, realize very, very quick deployment of the workforce, and some countries even didn't have to have a negotiation of the essential service workers definition. So yeah, so fully agreed. And so as a UNICEF, we are very looking forward to join forces with IFSW and also with other partners and continue to exchange within the region, across the regions, and so to come up with some standard setting and try to really advance in this area. So for the professionalization of the social service workforce.
Yeah, that's right, Eri. And in fact, the theme of the summit, we're talking about co-building a new eco-social world. I think for me, it puts a lot of emphasis on partnerships, networking, collaboration. And I think I'm looking forward to seeing, an increased or strengthened collaboration between the Federation, UNICEF, and all other, partners, including those that are members of the summit.
Yeah. So by the way, so this regional framework we are talking about, so it is really at the final stage of the final technical and quality assurance check, and so it's going to be available at UNICEF side and also Global Social Service Workforce Alliance side, our partners, and very soon. So you will please check it out.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So take care.
Okay. Bye.